You know the scene, right? You're in a work meeting, a group chat's blowing up, or maybe you're at a family dinner, and there's that one person. They're there, but they're quiet, barely say a word. You ever wonder what's actually going on in their head? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that very mystery.
And get this quote from Veg Out magazine just hits it right on the head. It suggests that silence isn't just nothing. It's not an empty space. It's actually a powerful force. It's a totally different kind of engagement, one that's happening just beneath the surface.
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? What is really going on behind that quiet exterior? Are they just shy, bored, or is it something way more complex, a whole rich internal world that most of us are completely missing out on? Let's find out.
All right, first things first, we have to start with how we see silence from the outside. Before we can get to what's happening on the inside, we got to confront our own assumptions about what it means when someone doesn't speak up. I mean, these are the usual suspects, right? The labels we slap on quietness almost immediately. We think, oh, they must be painfully shy, or even worse, wow, they think they're too good for this conversation. But here's the thing, these assumptions, they're almost always an incomplete picture, if not totally wrong.
Okay, so let's flip the script. Let's go inside the quiet mind. Because this is where the real story is. And it's not an empty space. It's a busy, super active, and honestly, an often overwhelming place to be. And I love the reframe this slide offers. This isn't a state of absence. It's a state of vigilance. The quiet person is often hyper-aware. They're tracking every single laugh, every little shift in someone's tone, every subtle facial expression. They are absolutely immersed in the conversation, just not with their voice. And this is where that inner monologue just kicks into high gear. It all starts with an impulse, right? A thought pops up, an idea, maybe a joke. The door to speak opens for just a split second. But then, the internal critic jumps in. Hesitation, a little bit of self-doubt. The brain starts calculating. Is it a good enough point? Will it even land right? And just like that, boom, the moment's gone. Somebody else starts talking. And that window of opportunity just slams shut. To speak now would feel like an interruption, you know? Totally out of sync with the rhythm of the conversation. So the idea stays inside, and the cycle of silence continues, not because of disinterest, but because of this deep, exhausting internal negotiation. And this is so important. It's not the actual act of speaking that's terrifying, it's what might happen after. It's the fear of exposure, of being misunderstood, or judged, or just dismissed. It's the fear of replaying that one clumsy sentence in your head for hours after the conversation is already over. And you know what? This whole internal experience, it's not just a personality quirk. Psychology actually has a name for it, and a whole framework for understanding the deep-seated conflict that's driving it all.
Okay, I know, that sounds a little academic, but this is the key term, self-concealment. And it isn't just about being a private person. It's an active process. It's the work of hiding parts of yourself that you believe are negative or maybe even shameful. It's a conscious effort to keep certain thoughts and feelings under lock and key.
And this slide just nails the core tension. Researchers call it a dual mode of conflict. Just picture a constant internal tug of war. On one side, you have the natural human urge to connect and share, to reveal yourself. But on the other side, you've got this powerful protective urge to hide and stay safe, to conceal. That internal battle is exhausting, and it's the engine driving this entire experience. And this conflict, it has very real consequences. A huge meta-analysis is crystal clear on this. High levels of self-concealment are strongly linked with more anxiety, more depression, and lower levels of social support. And it makes total sense when you think about it, right? The very strategy you're using to protect yourself from judgment ends up isolating you. That constant battle takes a heavy, heavy toll. But wait, this isn't just a story about anxiety and conflict. Far from it. In fact, all of this deep internal processing can actually forge some incredible strengths, some hidden superpowers, you could say. Let's look at how this silence can build a totally different kind of power. Just look at this list. Because they aren't always focused on what they're going to say next, they become highly observant. They catch all the little things that other people miss. They value intentionality, so when they do speak, you better believe it's because they have something meaningful to add. They also tend to have strong boundaries and a frankly amazing ability to avoid unnecessary drama. And of course, they process information so deeply, seeing problems from angles nobody else even thought of. It's like what the psychologist Carl Jung said.
In the chaos of a big group conversation, the quiet person is often the one finding that secret order. They're not just being silent, they are making sense of it all. They're finding the signal in the noise.
So, where does this all leave us? How do we take all these different pieces, the misunderstanding from the outside, the conflict on the inside, and these hidden strengths and weave them all together into a brand new understanding?
I think this is the core message, really. It's about compassion, for others, and maybe for ourselves too. True belonging doesn't require a performance. You don't have to be the loudest, or the wittiest, or the quickest person in the room. Real connection, it happens in spaces that have breathing room, spaces that allow for a pause, and that don't mistake stillness for absence.
And that leaves us with one last thought to take with us. The next time you're in a room and you notice that quiet person, maybe instead of wondering what's wrong with them, you just get a little curious. What if what you're seeing isn't an absence at all, but a deep, powerful, and totally different way of being present?